After contact with influenza patients, why will some people be infected while others will not? Even if people are infected with the flu at the same time, why should the severity of symptoms differ among them? Suppose they are treated by doctors, even if the prescription is the same, why will their recovery time be different? Whether or not it will be infected by the virus, the biological clock is the key. Apart from the fact that we often talk about everyone's physical strength and immunity, are there other factors? Well, the answer is yes. One of the most important factors is the biological clock, also called the circadian clock. This video is based on a popular science article by a scientist from the Nuffield Department of Medicine Research Building, University of Oxford. I will link the original article in the description below. The biological clock, like a commander, regulates our behaviour, physiological activities, and body functions all the time. Our sleep quality, how much we eat, body temperature, blood pressure, hormone release, immune system, and other life processes must be surrendered to it. In the study of the biological clock, the most curious thing is the effect that it has on our health. As we all know, long-distance flights across multiple time zones can lead to serious jet lag. Interference with the biological clock can also lead to cardiovascular disease, obesity, type 2 diabetes and other metabolic diseases, as well as neurological diseases and even cancer. In the cross-research field of biological clock and biomedicine, the relationship between virus invasion and biological clock is becoming a research hotspot. If you have surgery in the morning, the speed of the virus reinfection is faster. In 2018, a set of clinical data of liver transplantation from patients with hepatitis C attracted the attention of scientists. Although following liver transplantation, the residual hepatitis C virus always infects the new liver, it is interesting that the virus replication is related to the operation time of the liver transplantation. The virus rebound is faster in patients who had surgery in the morning, while other influencing parameters, donor age, cold-ischisma time, the length of the operation time, are not associated with the virus rebound. Once a virus has entered a host cell, it scrambles for resources to replicate its genetic material, tries to invade recognition, and eventually spreads to new host cells. Inside each cell, there is a biological clock ticking on a 24-hour cycle. Studies in mice have found that about 20 to 30% of genes are regulated by the biological clock, which means they are highly expressed at certain times of the day and less expressed at other times of the day. So, does the virus choose what time to invade based on the host's biological clock? The virus does indeed pick its opportunity to attack. To enter the host cell, a virus must bind to protein receptors on the cell membrane. Such receptors are good partners of the virus and are crucial to the success of virus invasion. With these receptors, the virus can enter the door of the cell membrane smoothly. So, is the expression of hepatitis C virus receptor controlled by the biological clock? Unexpectedly, a follow-up study by Oxford University found that all three essential receptors for hepatitis C virus invasion showed circadian rhythms. That is, over the course of a day, the amount of these receptors rises and falls in accordance with the circadian rhythm. When the virus was used to infect cells at the time of the receptor's peak and trough, the infection rate actually matched the biological clock of the receptor expression. So cells open and close to viruses at different times of the day, and the virus can enter the cells smoothly during the open time with increased receptors, but will be blocked at the closed time with decreased receptors. Further study has shown that if the BMAL1 gene, the most important clock regulator, is removed from cells, it will lead to a decrease in hepatitis C virus receptors, and then the cells will enter a state of limited access for viruses. Having infected the cells, the virus must choose its time to reproduce. The circadian clock can keep the virus out by controlling the expression of virus receptors. Can the circadian clock of infected cells still play a role? The growth and reproduction of hepatitis C virus can only use the resources in host cells, among which fatty acids is an essential material for the assembly of hepatitis C virus particles. Studies have shown that the synthesis and decomposition of fatty acids in cells are also firmly controlled by the biological clock. REV-ERBα, another senior commander of the circadian clock, has an important role in managing lipid and cholesterol metabolism. Scientists have found that when it is activated, hepatitis C virus is difficult to replicate in cells. The fatty acid synthesis pathways of cells in REV-ERBα activation state was seriously interfered, which directly led to the failure of the hepatitis C virus assembly. More interestingly, the same activators can also inhibit the replication of dengue fever and Zika virus. In addition, the metabolism of fatty acids is also closely related to the synthesis of HIV, West Nile virus, and other respiratory viruses. So the results of this study may also be applicable to other human pathogenic viruses. The immune system's defense force goes up and down at different times. If the immune defense system is on high alert at all times, it is a huge waste of immune resources. Our smart, efficient immune system uses its biological clock to adjust itself and turn on its defenses at certain times. Viruses, on the other hand, may hit the immune defenses at either low or high points throughout the day. Scientists at the University of Cambridge exposed mice to the herpes virus at different times of the day. They found that mice infected at dawn, when the mice were at rest, had 10 times more virus replication than when they were active 10 hours later. They also found that if the mice's biological clocks were disrupted, the virus kept replicating at a high level no matter when they were infected. This suggests that the clock of the cell and even the body's immune system determines how successfully the virus replicates. More interestingly, scientists at the University of Geneva recently discovered that immune white blood cells don't patrol the body all the time, but instead move in and out of the lymph nodes regulated by the body clock. This may explain why people with a disturbed body clock who work night shifts are more susceptible to virus infections. Morning or afternoon? Well, that's the problem. These findings reveal the complex interaction between viral infection and biological clocks, and the obvious question is whether viral infection disrupts or manipulates the host's biological clock, thereby altering cellular metabolism and regulatory systems for its own use. Some studies have shown that getting vaccinated at the right time of day leads to a stronger immune response. Depending on the virus and the population, if you find the best time to get the vaccine, maybe some vaccines will no longer need booster doses to boost immunity. In addition, scientists may be able to use this understanding of the body clock to optimize the use of antiviral drugs by timing them to best effect. In recent years, there has been a growing body of evidence linking biological clock disruption to cancer, and the manipulation or destruction of the biological clock by viruses seems to be a promising field of research. This is a constantly evolving field of interest, but it is becoming increasingly evident that sleep and a good circadian clock are the bedrock of getting the best out of all your other interventions. Anyway, why not check out this other video on sleep to find out even more about its benefits? And if you've already seen that one, then check out this one. Until next time, thanks for dropping by.